I miss you so much. First of all, I just wanted to say. Second of all, I'm going to try something new and read you a story today, coming at you from my couch in my front room with optimal daylight. So, this book that I want to read, because this week is going to be kind of themed based on art appreciation, famous artwork. This book is called Fancy Nancy, Aspiring Artist. And it is about her adventures during spring break making art and going to the art museum. Alright, ready? Alright, I'm going to try to show you the pictures as well. This book has one thing that I don't agree with. It says, doodling and scribbling is not art. And I disagree with that. You got to start somewhere. And doodling helps you think of ideas. So anyway, when I get to that part, know that I disagree. All right. Sunday. It's spring vacation, so I should be ecstatic, joyous, carefree. Those are all fancy words for happy, but I'm not. Bree and her family just left for New York City, the glamour capital of the world. My mom knows I'm a little glum, which is sad in a fancy way. So when she comes back from grocery shopping, she has treats, a big box of crayons, and a set of glitter markers for me. What a splendid parent my mother is. Moms are pretty cool, that's true. When I am doodling with my new markers, inspiration strikes. That means I get a great idea. I will turn my clubhouse into an art studio and spend my vacation making gorgeous works of art. Doodles don't really count as art, but I get some of my most splendid ideas while doodling. That's the part I don't agree with, but that's okay. Besides some supplies, that's fancy for markers, paints, and paper, all you need in an art studio is an artist. I am wearing a smock and a beret. That's French for cap. Don't you think my beret makes me look more talented? My sister can only scribble. Even though scribbling doesn't count as real art, I tell her how beautiful her pictures are. In the afternoon, I have dance class. All over the studio are posters of ballerinas by a French artist named Edgar Degas. While I am playing, suddenly inspiration strikes. I return to my art studio and begin drawing beautiful ballerinas just like Edgar Degas did. Do you notice who all the ballerinas look like? Hee hee hee. Today, I tell Miss Devine about my art studio. Her favorite artist is Claude Monet. She tells me he didn't like to work in a studio. He loved painting outdoors, even in winter. He'd wear coats and a blanket to keep from freezing. Brrr! Suddenly, inspiration strikes again. I would love to paint outdoors in your garden, just like Claude Monet. It was sunny when I painted this. I call it Tulips in the Wind. Then some cloud came and I had to use darker colors to paint some flowers. I call this More Tulips in the Wind. And if you're a second grader, we just started learning about Claude Monet when school shut down. So do you remember we were talking about the Japanese footbridge? Same artist. Tuesday. I invite my friend Lionel over today. He can act like a real goofball, but he is the most talented artist in our class. His faces are so good. No one draws noses like Lionel. Not to brag, but I am the second most talented. Ask anybody. Here's a portrait Lionel made of me. A portrait is a picture of someone's face. Hee hee. I don't really have a mustache or a goatee. That's fancy for a short beard. Wednesday. Oh, whoops. We're at this page. Then Lionel poses for me, but he keeps making crazy faces. Lionel is such a goofball. Here's a joke Lionel told me. What color is a burp? Purple. Ooh la la. A letter from Bree. I adore getting mail, don't you? Look what she did on the back of the envelope. She wrote swack. That means sealed with a kiss. How many of you have sent somebody some mail or sent them some artwork? Now would be a good time. Everybody would love to get something in the mail, right? Especially something handmade. Here is the front of the card Bree sent. She went to a world-famous museum where she saw this picture by Henri Matisse. He made it from pieces of colored paper that he cut out. Inspiration strikes once more. I get construction paper, glue, and scissors, and voila! I make a picture like Henri Matisse did. Even though wings on a real butterfly always match, mine have two different wings. Artists are allowed to break rules. Thursday. Even though I've been studying for hours, everything I draw today stinks. My mom comes in to tell me that Lionel's grandma called. She's taking him to a 3D movie and wants you to come. Alas, I can't go. I'm waiting for inspiration to strike. Nancy, it's wonderful to be dedicated. That means working really hard, my mom tells me. But take a break. It'll get your creative juices flowing again. My mother knows I listen better when she uses fancy words. Can you buy creative juice? No, it's a fancy phrase for imagination. Have you ever gotten stuck and not know what to draw? Yeah, sometimes it is good to take a break. That's good advice. My mom was right. After I get home, my creative juices start flowing. The movie was about really weird fish that live on the bottom of the ocean. Mine are imaginary. That means I made them up. There's a tiara fish, a chandelier fish, and a tutu fish. Friday. For a special treat, my dad is taking us to the art museum. Lionel comes too. On the way over, he pretends to be car sick. My dad starts to pull over, but I explained that Lionel is just being a goofball. Not very funny to joke about that. At the museum, there's a real painting by Claude Monet. I know a fancy word for how it makes me feel. All I can say is the colors make my eyes happy and my heart happy too. Lionel says he likes this painting. At first, I think he's kidding. It's just a big bunch of black drips and blobs, but the harder I look, the more interesting it is. Some parts look lacy. Other parts look almost like a spider web. My dad really likes it too. Hopefully you can see that. That's like a big splatter painting. My dad tells us he once saw a movie about the artist Jackson Pollock. He put the canvas on the floor and poured paint straight from the can. He also used paint sticks to make dribbles and all kinds of patterns. Inspiration strikes again. I turned to Lionel. We should make a big painting like Jackson Pollock. We'll do it tomorrow when Bree is back. Saturday. At last, Bree and I are reunited. That's fancy for being together again. I tell her it's officially Jackson Pollock Day. Not really, but doesn't that sound important? I wonder what they are going to do. You know they're going to make a mess. I love it. Okay. My parents spread out the sheet in the front yard, and I find the leftover cans of house paint. We wear old clothes, put on hip-hop music for inspiration, and then, ooh la la, we fling and flick paint. We make swirls and splatters and drips and dribbles. We are painting and dancing at the same time. Jackson Pollock was a very serious professional artist, but making a painting in this way is silly and fun. Later, I show Bree all the art that I made this week. She shows me her sketches from New York City. My mom tells Lionel to stop sticking carrots up his nose. Then she says, You'll have so much art, you should have an art show. What a splendid idea. We hang our artwork on the clothesline. We make a sign in the front yard announcing the exhibit. Exhibit is a fancy word for show. That sounds cool. I wish we could do something like that right now. Whoa, cool. Sunday. Our art exhibit is a smashing success. That's a fancy way to say everyone has a good time and tells us how talented we are. I give Miss Divine one of the paintings I did in her garden. I tell her I can't believe how tired my hands are from all the art I made this week. Mrs. Devine says that she knows the perfect remedy for aching artist hands. A manicure. Okay, so below in a link, I am going to post a couple activities from this book, because in this book, they were inspired by a lot of different things and some different artists. So I'm going to post a few activities that you can do that were inspired by this book. And also, at the end of the book, they talk about having an art show. And we can't really have an art show where people come and gather, but if you did make something cool this week, either from this activity or my other activity that I'm going to post about recreating famous art, you should post it to the East Prairie Padlet. That would be awesome, and that would be a way where we could display some artwork and sort of have an art show. Okay? I hope you're doing really well, and I miss you so much. I can't even believe it. And take care of you and your families. Bye-bye for now.